Stay with us, I'm Bill O'Reilly. And in the Culture Warrior segment tonight, a new MTV program called Skins. Viewer warning here, this is an explicit show dealing with teenage sexuality and drug use. We're not going to show you a clip because the subject matter speaks for itself. And now the program is even more controversial because charges of child pornography are in play. Joining us to analyze, Margaret Hoover and Gretchen Carlson. All right, Carlson, begin with you. You saw an episode of this thing today. Describe it to the audience.
I wish I wouldn't have seen it.
Really?
I mean, this...
Is that bad?
Yeah, maybe one element of a problem child would exist, you know, with a teen who's growing up, who's 15, 16, 17, like maybe they're dabbling in drugs. But in this show, this one group of teenagers is dabbling in drugs, sex, prostitution, masturbation.
How many
I mean,
these are actors we're watching now.
Yeah.
And how many characters are there in the program?
There are about six or seven central characters.
Okay, 6 or 7 central characters, and they do all kinds of bad things, right?
Drugs, prostitution, purchasing drugs, selling drugs, having sex with teachers.
Now, do they glorify that?
This is absolutely glorified.
MTV glorifies.
I thought I would come to this with a little bit of mock outrage, and I was actually deeply disturbed by the fact that
you were disturbed.
I was.
Yeah, which is,
I have to say, I'm a bit,
right.
you think I'm a little bit more
you're a libertarian person. So this is the mod squad on steroids, is what you're telling me.
Absolutely. No, more than steroids.
You know what this is? This is the most dangerous program that has ever been foisted on your children, according to the Parents Television Council.
But see, I read stuff like that, and I think, oh, God, it can't be that bad. But honestly,
it is that bad.
15-year-olds selling drugs. This was a very realistic depiction of 15-year-olds acting like I wouldn't want my 40-year-old friends acting.
Okay, so they're doing criminal activity, they're doing promiscuity, and this is on at 10 o'clock at night, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay,
but
so it's accessible.
They can see it whenever.
But MTV, 80% of MTV's viewers are 18, 19,
right,
and under.
And you guys actually watch it on the net.
We had to watch it.
So anybody could access it on the net.
Absolutely.
So those boundaries, time and all of that
are irrelevant, and you can zero it.
So now we have a Federal Communications Commission, but it does not regulate cable. Mm-hmm. It only regulates broadcast channels because cable you have to buy.
Yes.
So this comes under the heading of freedom of speech. The second thing is this show was a big hit in England, and they imported it here in the United States.
And toned it down, apparently. But one thing you can't get away from, even if you're in cable, is the Justice Department. And now apparently they are considering filing child endangerment or pornography charges against MTV and the executives because in the third episode upcoming, there is a depiction of a naked boy, which is apparently illegal when you're underage.
Well, so and that's the interesting question, right? Because
they'll cut that out, though. The MTV pinheads
right, but we agree. I mean, we
out.
talk on the show a lot about how much is too much and where is the line.
Right.
Well, it turns out the line is child pornography because if you're between 15 and 19 and you're naked and doing sexually suggestive things on TV, and you're a minor, you are
and these actors who are doing these things are teenagers.
Years old.
And what parent would allow their child to do this show number
Carlson,
one?
you know the answer to that question.
But you know what else I think? I think MTV got this child pornography thing out there on purpose.
Probably, and they got a segment on this program, and I know I'm going to get mail saying, O'Reilly, you're publicizing this kind of garbage.
I don't know.
But this is a big story in the country.
I don't know. As the New York Times is reporting this is suggesting as though MTV was not prepared for this. They've had to recut their third episode. There were very high-level executive
meetings. But let's put it this way.
This.
MTV doesn't care about anything.
Of course they love the publicity.
Other than people watching MTV. They couldn't care less about child pornography if this is corrupting or anything else.
And why? Because they were going down the tubes up until about a year ago when they started with some new programming that was very much coming right up to the line.
Right.
And I think this goes
in the first
over
episode, a lot of 18 and 25s watched it, which is what they want. All right. Now we have a real-life story. This is a real-life story, but now we have unintended consequences of perhaps this kind of business in a high school in Tennessee. How many girls pregnant?
90 girls pregnant.
90 in one school.
90 girls pregnant in one school,
Great.
950 students.
So 10% of the student body, and you figure that
half of
that's
them are
probably
women,
20% because you divide it.
Right.
So you tell me what's going on.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's easy to. I'm not going to disagree with your suggestion that this kind of television shows and this kind of presence in the culture
and glorifies this kind of behavior. Right.
I think that does impact the culture. However, teen birth rate in the United States has gone down. It is at an all-time low. In 2009, it ended
but not
at 6%.
At this school.
But at this school, it's triple the national average.
Yeah.
So something's going on in this community.
And Carlson, I think everybody has to understand that many people, not just teenagers, get pregnant when they're intoxicated. Okay? So they don't use the birth control, they don't do what they're supposed to do because they're blasted out of their minds.
Well, that could be, but also Tennessee law requires schools to teach family life education, which centers on abstinence. So no doubt now people are going to...
Well, it ain't working at this school, is it?
It's not
now,
working.
Do we have any exposition
there.
of why this school has this epidemic?
This has not just been happening now, it's just being reported now. They went back and talked to students from a decade ago who said we've
always had this kind of problem.
But to link the two stories together tonight, the Rand report, the most recent one from 2008, says exposure to television programs that contain sexual content are twice as likely to be involved, kids who watch them, twice as likely to be involved in a pregnancy over the following 3 years.
Okay, so that is a cause and effect on watching this kind of TV.
And there are even school officials in Fraser who actually think that it is the culture, the message culture sends to students actually impacts how they behave.
Well, it's cool. They think that they're going to have the baby and then people look at them and all of that business.
And there is clearly a correlation because we've also seen the inverse correlation with the show 16 and Pregnant, where the Christian Science Monitor had a survey that came out and said 82% of girls who watch that show feel like they have a better sense of what happens when you have a kid as a teenager, and they are more informed not to go get pregnant and to use protection or to not have
that's
sex.
More of a, they're a reality-based show than glorification on MTV.
Correct, but it shows that television and culture shows actually impact the culture.
Oh, they do. There's no doubt. All right, ladies, thanks very much.